friends, Kelly here. Welcome back to my channel. I have a finished-ish project to share, and I wanted to talk through a little bit about a few realizations I had as I went through this project, and then a little bit about what I did when I was done with it, which is a new thing for me. But I thought I would share a little bit of my progress. So this is the gratitude documented devotional project that Illustrated Faith had this past November 2021. And I did not purchase the physical kit. I actually just did the digital. I didn't have any of the physical product, if I can remember correctly. I might have gotten a few stamp sets, but regardless, I did not have the devotional piece of it. So what I did was I printed it myself, and then printed the pieces and used my silhouette to cut it. So let me walk you through kind of what that looked like to start, and then I'll talk a little bit about the actual book. So after I downloaded all my files, I needed to print out my devotional book. And so I was testing out the format, the sizing, so I ended up having these extra pages here. And this comes in handy, and I'll explain that in just a second. But these are basically the first inside pages of this book. So once I figured out the size I wanted to print, I went ahead and I printed out all the pages, and then I used my sewing machine to bind it. Just a simple stitch right down the center. Then what I went into this plan or project with the plan was to document daily, which I have learned I am not a daily project kind of person. It just does not work for me. So this whole project really taught me a lesson about my own self and what I know I am willing to take on, what I'm capable of, what's reasonable. And the bigger piece of that is understanding that I have to give myself permission to not follow along any sort of daily projects and be okay with that. I did learn a few things that I will change going forward with daily projects, if you will. But my initial process, my initial thought of going into this was that what I would do is every day I would sit down and I would write into this journal part. So there really wasn't a specific devotional that went day to day. It was really just the prompts. So what you received was this sheet, and I don't have the full printable here, but basically I had a sheet that had these index tab little things here. I think I have some. They would fit kind of into some of these. So it came with some of those, and then in the inside of the journal, we'll just call it a journal, were the different daily prompts and then a scripture to go with it. So you really had a lot of freedom to kind of make this whatever worked for you, which for somebody like me, that's great. For some people, they might need a little more direction and guidance. I don't really know. Either way, all of it kind of went out the window pretty soon after we got into November, which let me show you why. My thought was that every day I would come in, I would write down at least, I would try to write 3 things that I was feeling grateful for that day, or things that happened in life that I could find gratitude in. I would go in and I would read the scripture, and I would study that a little bit and spend some time in my Bible specifically with this project. So I kept that up for a little while. I was really struggling. We had a worship night at church, and we were prompted by our pastor to write a prayer out. So I wrote that out. I stuck it in here. I was really having a hard time the beginning of November finding time to be grateful and finding things to be grateful for, which sounds kind of crazy. You'd think it'd be this time of really deep reflection and gratitude, and I just was really, really struggling. And I found myself actually working through some of that in this book. So I was doing okay. I was going in and I was trying to get my things down, but you can kind of see right about probably here, the 8th of November, I started to struggle a bit because I noticed I no longer am writing out the scripture. I'm writing out 3 things, and then I'm kind of struggling, but I kept going as best as I could because sitting down and writing out 3 things didn't seem that hard. So I got through the 22nd, and that's as far as I got as writing my 3 things. What I had planned to do was translate this information to my creative book. This was going to be the fun playing and creativity part, which I kind of struggled with. So let me set some parts aside here and I'll show you just the first few pages, talk a little bit more about how I learned some things through this project, how I dismantled the kit once I was done, and then I'll do a flip through at the end of the creative pages. But I used just a traveler's notebook. I don't know what the size of this is. It's probably like a 5 by, let's see, it's, I can use a ruler probably. It's a 5 by 7. Yeah, 5 by 7. I really like this size. I found an Etsy seller that does these in this nice craft and then white. I feel like sometimes finding white is hard. So I'll leave a link to the supplier that I purchased my traveler's notebooks from. But here we go. I decided I would go ahead and I would create these pages with the tabs instead of putting in the plastic little tab sleeves. I still wanted to use these. There was one for either side of the tab, but that's not how I worked through the book. But I did use my tab punch. I love this thing. Highly recommend it. And simple title page. I always leave this kind of blank if I put anything at all, but I had this sticker, so I put that there. And then I just opened up with just a creative process of having fun stamping and creating this little page here and talking about daily gratitude, which I failed at miserably. And then I kind of was off to a good start. I did some journaling. I did all of my things. I was going to include my 3 things I could be grateful for. My date, I numbered them. I had a lot of fun with creative play. I did a little attempt at mixed media. Off to a really great start. So I got day 1. I got day 2. Day 2, here day 1, I have some journaling or prayer. Already day 2 journaling. I just don't like journaling, so I've just learned I gotta let that go. Here I thought, okay, I'll just at least get my 3 things down. I'll get my scripture in, and maybe that'll be my process. Day 3. Day 3, friends. I already was failing at day 3. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't keep up with all the pieces. This I was able to barely pull together. It just maybe was bad timing, but quite honestly, I know it's just me. It's just how I am. So I decided to turn this into more of a creative exercise of just having fun and playing with paper, kind of like I did with my Camp Wonder book. So then it became more of an exercise in just having fun. So that's what I did through the remainder of the book. So I'll do a flip through of the book, and you'll see, for example, this page here, I still had the intention. I was going to come in, I was going to journal, I'm going to write the scripture out, and then I left room, I left space, and who knows, maybe someday I will come back and do that, but maybe I won't. I don't know. Maybe I come and visit this book again next year and I pray through it and I work through it a little bit more and maybe I fudge out the dates. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's done-ish. So I'll flip through that in just a second. Here are some of the bits. So I said that I would come back to this piece. So what this ended up being really helpful for me, because for this particular project, Illustrated Faith had put together prompts for every day, and then there was a little piece of ephemera that went with every day. So this was kind of like a map for me. I could look and see exactly what piece I was going to be using for that particular date. And I had done a combination of clear sticker paper and white sticker paper. So all of these were in one way or another a sticker, or sometimes they were a die cut. I had put all of that together on my silhouette ahead of time. And then this inside piece, which again was just the kind of like the table of contents index, whatever you want to call it. I used that again to just kind of keep myself going in the creative book. So I didn't necessarily have to have this piece with this piece for this project. I'm probably going a little too far in detail, but I think you get the point. So this piece, even though it was kind of just a test print, turned out to be very handy. Once I got done with everything, I had a few pieces left. So what I did was I went through and I decided that I needed to make reasonable decisions about what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to get rid of. I've kept this because I still haven't decided how I'm going to keep this all together. I might just stick it in like a big plastic envelope or something. This is just for example. So I haven't decided quite what I want to do with that yet. So I haven't gotten rid of these pieces here. So these are the rest of the tabs. I haven't gotten rid of this. This was one of the scriptures. I'm trying to think of who it is, but in Illustrated Faith, they've started, I really love this. Each month now, it seems that they've started. It's Jill with a D. Can't think of how to say her last name. At any rate, I will link it. She has been typing on her own vintage typewriter, typing out the scriptures, and then, you know, through the magic of digitizing, scanning, whatever, she's been creating these really great pieces. I think they're calling it a toolbox of some sort. But they have been going with each month's devotional. I have been snatching these up. I love them. I love that she's already done the work. I love the look of typewriting your scripture or journaling or whatever. So I have been taking full advantage of that. So for these, I took the rest of them and I just cut them up, separated them out, and stuck them in kind of a little stash that I can use. And then this is all I kept of the little pieces that I had cut out. It's a lot of like these word fetties. It's a couple of bigger pieces. It's some of the smaller little pieces that are die cuts from this. Anything that I didn't really see myself using in any other project, I kept. And then a few other things just so I'd have, maybe if I wanted to ever grab and go and see what I can make out of this, if I ever challenged myself to say, okay, whatever's in this little tiny envelope, that's what I'm going to use for this particular whatever. I kind of like that. Sometimes the limitation is fun, to have a limitation of supplies to just see what you can come up with. So I've decided to do that. Anything that was larger than this, most of it was like these bigger florals. I've incorporated those into some of my other kits that I have. I make my own kits of stuff for projects, like my wild weeds and wildflower tags, junk journal, just whatever else I feel like this color scheme or this goes with. I have gone ahead and added it to that. So that's what I'm doing when I get done with a project. Again, getting done with a project is a new thing for me. I don't finish projects very often. So I'll just kind of show you real quick. Like, for example, here is just a big box of random stuff I'm keeping for my junk journaling. I'm really excited about my junk journal. I'm enjoying that. So I just keep this pile here. For example, like to keep this all together as a kit. Let's see if I can find the other one. I had created these little cards. I can't quite find the other one right now, but I had two little cards that have just some washi that I've wrapped around it that I can keep with a project like this, especially a project like this where I was being very specific just to the supplies that came with this devotional kit. And so it was really nice. I kept it. Let me show you. I kept everything in one of these big zipper totes. Ugh. So everything that I had for this project, including the sticker sheets, pages of stickers, for example, I'll just grab one. This isn't what I use, but you can see the size of these pouches. So everything for this particular project lived in this. So I have quite a few of these that I keep the project I'm working on. So it's all together. So this was what I could grab and go if I was gonna grab and go. So you can see I even had the washi ready to go. Okay, so let me clear this all up, and then I am gonna just throw on some music and do a flip through. And if there's anything you wanted to look at better, you could certainly pause the video and take a look at it, screenshot it, find whatever inspiration you can if you find any at all. Otherwise, I will just go ahead and show you the rest of this book, and then hopefully pretty soon I'll have a new video up of a new project I'm starting.